The stroll down the ridge will cause you to pause, reflecting on your path of travel left behind, while the overlooks cast a permanent impression of picture-perfect scenery impossible to pass up. Wetterhorn and Matterhorn will be sure to deadlock your stride. As a couple, their beauty is unsurpassed. As you stumble past the final gap while looking off the ridge, a rising anticipation will push you past the 13,000-foot level.
Coming off the shelf, you end up going up what I call the wall, which is a little bit steeper and definitely winds you down. That's all I have to say.
At this point of my hike, I began to seriously question my reason as I continued on with my 30-pound camera gear-infested load. I refer to this section of the trail as the wall for two reasons. First of all, the trail traverses an extremely steep section crisscrossed by a series of switchbacks. Secondly, you sense your slowing footsteps attempting to convince you it's becoming impossible to lift your foot forward. I absorbed the rising views as I stumbled away the pains. As you continue to gain altitude, the trail falls away below you. The last few steps to the top of the wall are without a doubt breathtaking. Your dizzy consciousness evokes a dreamy sensation as you absorb the expanding horizon. A drop-jaw view will be sure to halt your footprints as the high-altitude stage becomes set. With viewpoint after spectacular viewpoint, you are sure to be pushing the buttons on your camera. A lengthy pause at this vista is highly recommended. From here, the hike changes drastically. You begin an airy traverse around the side of an intimidating loose rock upper shelf. Enjoy your last boot imprints on the hard-packed trail, as the terminology of travel is all about to change. The hike no longer exists. The climb is about to begin. Crumbled and crushed footing now draws all your attention, unless you plan to leave your bones on the side of the mountain. It's imperative to cautiously choose the proper route, avoiding the loose overhangs. It will become abruptly evident at this point there is absolutely no room for error. Being caught here during bad weather could be the last mistake of your life. Constantly shifting rock should cause groups to ascend one at a time. This drastic section gives way about 150 feet up with a side stage exit. Particular attention should be taken to remember your exit point on the rock climb section below. Confusion may develop as to where you made your ascent. With the tough section behind, a timeless viewpoint will eventually allow your hands to dry. Yet be reminded, your path of descent will constantly linger in the back of your mind. Slow, methodical steps now become the main priority. Your constant balancing act seems to demoralize you in this ravished world you have now crossed the line into. The crushed boulder landscape sloughs off the mountainside with grand views to the basin and still visible faint trail. Your deep quickening breaths will continue.
Above 14,000 feet now.
With that in mind, I sensed it was due time for an altitude adjustment. Unable to evade temptation, I was lured to peer out over the edge. Examination of the shattered rock slide and recalling the traverse through it will surely shiver one's knees. Elevated above all nearby points, priceless. The stroll towards the final upward step of the mountain lies strewn with cold, hard stone. With the summit becoming much nearer, your excitement will be sure to escalate. The small islands of tundra give way as you mount your final uphill stumble while you stage your last dance on the rock-laden path. Void of any vegetation, the high Colorado world becomes dominated by rock. Forces unimaginable, along with years uncomprehendable, have literally smashed the solid stone cap of this mighty mountain. With the tattered remains left behind, the edges of the summit slough away, forming the landscape with piles upon piles of broken rock. Several man-made stone wind shelters exist near the summit. I presume you could seek refuge inside their walls to avoid the ripping forces of the frequent storms that pound this island in the sky. The final push to the crown of a 14er will never be forgotten. Above you, only the sky stretches out. As the final rock barriers give way, and with only countable steps remaining, an unimaginable rush takes you from deep within. It is without a doubt a superior thrill to stand at the top of the San Juan mountain range. The sheer 800-foot drop of the north face wall stands balanced a half-mile above the far reaches of Big Blue Canyon. A staggering stroll along the summit edge will remind you there's no way to go but down. Positively a long way down. As Big Blue sets the stage of Rocky Mountain paradise, numerous glimpses into totally isolated areas are sure to boggle one's mind. Colorful ridges stretch down to pinnacle-laden uprises, sometimes referred to as the Cimarron Needles. Umcompahgre's huge summit boasts an unprecedented view atop a land of endless mountains. Mountain peaks stretch off in the distance, 360 degrees around you now, for as far as your mind and your eyes can see. The summit platform oversees all for 100 miles in all directions. Pushing the buttons on my camera, I took frame after frame of the beauty I was now a part of. I came to understand how people are defined by life's experiences. Even the audience of lower altitude peaks seemed to be observing my stance so high in the Colorado sky. You remain as only a brief witness atop a high mountain peak, and even the sign and canister will hold no true meaning. You attempt to absorb every moment, staring out upon the vastness of all the earth that is now below you. A fear of not being able to recall every minute piece within your vision seems to draw a constant concentration. Fearless determination must remain your main priority. Yet, as you aimlessly walk around, you are constantly reminded of your temporary stay. The mountain's extreme environment will never allow you to linger long. Wandering to the far western reaches of the summit is well worthwhile. The unsurpassed view down the East Fork Cimarron Canyon can almost seem to stop time for a moment. The airy overlook perches you on top of what may be perceived as a mountaintop diving board. The 10-mile canyon is bordered on the west side by Pinnacle Ridge. The 6-mile forest of rock pinnacles end at the mouth of the canyon. The end-capped southwestern view draws your attention towards two high 13ers. Accessible from the West Fork Cimarron Valley, Coxcomb, a thin-finned outcropping, and Red Cliff with its wonderful viewing point. The unique Wetterhorn Pyramid reaches above 14,000 feet. Only 3 miles from Umcompahgre, Wetterhorn lies almost in line with Mount Sneffels, about 30 miles downrange.
Such a long way to get back to the truck. One step at a time.
To tread so near the ceiling of Colorado is a great privilege and honor. The land is so encompassing, and as a person you realize we are so small. It is truly amazing to experience high Colorado.